Good morning. Welcome to part 4 of the Shaker Stool. When we left off in part 3, we had the seat with one hole and one leg. We had a number of other resources that I want to review a little bit because we're going to use them all today. And just want to bring you up to date with what we're going to do. Remember, we started this whole thing with a couple of planes, and those planes determined the axis of the leg. And so we created the axis along that intersection of the planes. We're going to use those axes today. We're going to use the planes and the leg, of course. And our first job is going to be to create 3 more holes and 3 more legs. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is create 3 more holes. And so I'll bring the planes out and the legs out. And I don't think I need the axes right at the moment. What I need is another construction line that represents the center of this seat, but down here on the red-green plane. I've got one construction line already, and I'll bring the other one in like this. Remember that the seat is 12.5 inches in diameter, so the center of it is 6.25 inches from the red and green line axes. So 6.25, enter. If I look at this from the top, you'll see that that basically is the center of the seat, but down on the red-green plane. Okay, so let me go back to the ISO view. Now what I'm going to do is if you remember, the last thing we did with this seat was we made it a group, and I told you that was going to be temporary, a solid group. I'm now going to explode it. And with the help of, I'm going to look at it from the top, and with the help of the X-ray view, I'm going to select only the hole. I'm going to do that by using the select tool in the left to right motion. There you go. So now I've got the hole selected. And take the rotate tool and use it as a copy tool by pressing the control key, clicking on the center here, coming out along the red axis and moving up 90 degrees. I'll click. Now that this is selected, I can repeat that. Or the thing I can do right now is say 3x. And I have all my holes just by typing 3x immediately after my rotate copy. All right, now I'll get rid of the X-ray mode. Look at this in the ISO view. Now the problem is I've got 3 surfaces that I need to get rid of, the center of those holes. Not an easy thing to do, because you notice if I select the surface in the center of the hole, I get this whole seat surface. Same is true on the bottom. If I select this center of this hole right here, I get the whole seat surface. And more than that, if I orbit around here and select that again, you'll notice I get not just the bottom surface, but I get these rounded edges. Well, the way I help myself there is I view hidden geometry, and I'll reselect this surface. Well, let me unselect it first. Now reselect it. Now notice I've only selected the bottom surface. It stops at this hidden line and it doesn't go up around this curve just by selecting hidden view. Well, what I have to do is I've got to delete this surface. I can try. Well, no, I've already got the surface. Let me just delete the surface here and the one on top. And what I have to do is I've got to connect all 4 circles on the top with the larger circle of the seat. So I'll take the line tool and very carefully I'll click from one circle to another. Of course, now I've got to figure out what is it. What's the top of this circle and what's the bottom? So you might have to use the orbit tool to figure that out. There we go. That connects 4 circles. I connect the outer circle and then come back to this one. Okay, I made a mistake, I believe, here. Let me just back up one. What I really want to do is connect to this point right here. Ah, there's my problem right there. Let me back up twice. There's my problem. I just want the points connected. There we go. Now I got it. The problem was that I had actually connected along this, or I guess along this line. I just want points connected. And once I connect the 4 circles on just one point and a point of this outer circle, I get the whole surface. Now I can erase these lines, keep my surface, and I'll go around and do the same thing to the bottom. This is just one of those little things you learn about SketchUp as you go along. And so learn and use it to your advantage the next time. Now I'm going to connect to here. To here. Hoping that I'm really connecting to the right points. And I can see that that one wasn't the right point. Or the correct point. So I'll do that again. Not sure what I did wrong there. But let me see if I can fix it. There we go. All right, now I can erase those lines. Get rid of hidden geometry. And I've got what I want, I believe. Everything looks good. Okay. Now, I don't know if I need this line down here. Let me take it out for the moment. I can always put it back in. Let me bring in a leg. Well, first of all, let me make this a component. Call it seat. It says I already have a seat, and I say that's fine. I'll take the new one. I'll put it on the seat layer. And since there's only one in the model, I'll call it seat for the unique part name. All right, now let's bring the leg in. Oh, I guess I did need that line down here. Let me just make them again. 6 1/4, 6 1/4. Again, if you look up top, that's the center of the seat. And I'm going to use it to copy the leg. Now, I'm going to copy the leg 3 times, even though I'm probably going to have to delete 2 of them in a moment, or maybe next week, depending on when we do this. But let me just copy it for now. Same technique. I'm going to use the rotate copy tool. Copy it 90 degrees and say 3x. And there's my 3 legs in their holes, right here in the top. If I look at it from the front view, everything looks fine. If I look at it from the side view, everything looks fine. There I go. Okay, now we have a seat and 4 legs. Let's make sure all those legs are on the legs layer. And the way I'll do that is I'll just select all 4 of them. And place them on the legs layer. And by the way, I'm going to do the triple click test to make sure that the primitives are on layer 0. I'm going to do the same thing to the seat. And the primitives were all on layer 0. That's good. All right. There's 2 more things we have to do. One is put the rungs in. And we're going to do part of that today. And we'll complete the rungs next week. And next week we'll also put the cushion on. So let's deal with the rungs. To do that, we're going to bring the planes back in. We'll look at this from the front ISO view. And what I'm going to do, the planes run right through the center of the leg. In fact, I know that because that's how we created the leg axis right here. So they run right through the center. I'm going to use that to create construction lines for the rungs. I'm going to zoom in here real close. Use the orbit tool. And what I'm after is that point right there. There we go. That intersection where the plane intersects the leg at that valley in the nick there. Now I'm going to orbit around so I can see the other one. That was the top one I believe I was working on. I'll know in a second. Yep, the top one I was working on. And I'm going to take that same nick right there. Now I've got a construction line going right through the leg, right through its center. And I'll show that to you in a moment. For the top rung. Now let me do the bottom rung. This time I'm interested in this point down here. And I have to orbit around. Pick up this point on the bottom rung. What happened? Did I lose my original point? I guess I did. Not sure how that happened. But we can get it back. Oh, I see. Not sure. Now I want to get rid of this. Okay, now I've got it. Let me take the planes and the legs out. And I'll bring in the axes for the legs. Well, I guess I've only got the axes for one leg. That's a problem. One of the axes for all legs. What I'm going to have to do is copy the axes again. All right. Well, let me select that axis and copy it just the way I copied the legs. Well, for some reason I'm having a problem here. One of those should be an intersection. I'm not sure what's going on. Let me, there we go. Now I've got it. Right there. I'll click, come out along the red, 90 degrees, 3x. With a little luck, I've got, well, that didn't work so well, did it? One more time. I've still got my axes copied. Or selected rather, not copied, but selected. Rotate tool, copy. There we go. 3x. That worked. Now I've got an axis going through each leg. And I'm going to put those, if they aren't already, let me see if they're on the axes layer. They are. All right, now I can get rid of the legs, which is what I wanted to do to begin with, and show you that I have an intersection here. That's where the rung, the center of rung, goes through the axis of the leg. One upper and one lower. And I'm going to use those. But let me get rid of these lines back here. Something tells me I just did the wrong thing. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to bring the planes back. No, let me just look at this from the front view. Front view. There we go. Now I'm going to draw a line from that intersection to that intersection. And I've got to go back to my previous drawing so that we can see what we're trying to do here. Let me save this one and open up part 3. Maybe I don't need to do that, do I? No, what I need to open up is this one, the finished drawing. And let me look at the rungs. All right, I'm interested in the rungs here. And what I really want is this 1 1/4 dimension, the 1/2 inch dimension where it comes in straight for 1/2 inch. In other words, this is just a cylinder for the first 1/2 inch. The 1 1/4 dimension is where the curve ends. The curve starts at the 1/2 inch dimension and goes to the 1 1/4 dimension. And the rung starts out 9/16 and ends up 11/16. Okay, so with all of that, I think we can make this work. Hang on. So what I want to do is divide 9/16 by 2, get 9/32. Come up here, 9/32. Come over 1/2 inch. And do the same thing to the other end. Up along the blue, 9/32. Up, whoops. Come in 1/2 inch. And now I'm going to use the tape measure tool to select this end and create a parallel line along the red axis, 1 1/4 inch. What I'm drawing here is the profile for the rung, which will be obvious in a moment. 1.25. And lastly, the rung is 11/16 in diameter, so 11/32 is what I want. 11/32. And now I can draw a line from this point to this point. Lastly, I need a curve. I'll use this curve tool right here, the 2-point arc tool. I want a gentle curve going from there to there. Now I want it coming down like that. Now wait until I get that blue to indicate that it's tangent to this straight line here. There I go. Now I got a nice gentle curve. And what I've done here is notice I've got the cross section of the rung. So now if I go out to the end, look at this from the end. I can create a circle for my path. Starting right here, and just make sure it goes above this point here. Something like that. Now if I look at this from the ISO view, I've got this nice circle out here. I'll get rid of the face of the circle. Select the perimeter, and now with the Follow Me tool, I'll create my rung. Okay, now I've got the rung, and it's in primitive form. And one of the things I want to do is mark the center of the rung at each end. So I'm going to use my little tool over here that creates construction points. I'm going to put a construction point right there. I'm going to go around to the other end. And I'm going to put a construction point right there. Now I can get rid of a few things. Get rid of the axes. I don't need those anymore. Yeah, let me leave that there for the moment. Let me get rid of, well, nothing. Let me just leave it the way it is for the moment. Now I'm going to make this a component. I'm going to call it rung. But I know I'm going to have two different rungs because one of them is higher than the other, which means one of them is going to be longer than the other. The higher one's going to be shorter. So I'm going to make this a component called rung A. I'm going to create another layer called rungs. And I'll put rung A on the rungs layer. And maybe I'll call this the front rung A. Because I'm going to have two of them, one in front and one in back. And now let's take this off for the moment. Now, what I want to do is copy that rung. I'm going to use the copy tool to do that, along with the control key. Copy it along the green axis, anywhere. And I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees with the rotate tool. So I just click here anywhere, come out here, 90 degrees. Now what I want to do is take that, did I lose my, well, my construction points didn't come with it. So what I'm going to do is do that over again. I'll select this and this construction point. I'll copy it. Let me do that over again because I want both construction points. So I'll go around the other end and select that construction point too. All right, now we're okay. Now I'll copy it along the green axis. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. While everything is still selected, including my construction points, I'm going to grab it at that construction point right there. And I believe this is where I want to, let me orbit around here, make sure I'm seeing things as they should be. Yes. I want to connect it right there, the intersection. That's where the axis, the leg axis comes down, and the rung axis is horizontal and intersecting it. And I've got to orbit around. It's giving me a tough time here with the move tool. Let's see if I can. May have to do this a few times until we get it. Let's try it again. All right, now maybe we'll get it. Boy, it's really giving me a difficult time here. intersection. There we go. That was not easy. Now I'm going to come around to this end. And notice that it's short of this intersection right here. It's on the axis for the rung, but it's short of the intersection of the axis of the leg and the axis of the rung. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to explode this. And I'm going to select, let's see, I'm going to have to move this around in a way that I can select just what I want. I'm going to select just the construction point and don't want that. I think I might have gotten a little too much in there. So this will give me the construction point plus this end piece down here. I'm just going to move this end piece. And that's going to allow me to stretch the rung. Move it up to the intersection. Make sure I have the intersection right there. And now I've got the second rung, rung B. All I have to do, select it, make component, call it rung B. And I'll now put it on the rungs layer. And I'll call it right side rung B. Right rung B. Looks like I've got an extra rung back here. I'll just get rid of it. We're going to need 2 more, but that's next week. All right, let me get rid of my axes. I don't need the rung axes anymore, don't believe. But you know what? I'm going to put them on a... I'm going to put those on the construction layer too. Get rid of the rungs. And I'll put all of this stuff on the construction layer. I may need it next week. All right, let me bring the legs in. I don't think I need these construction lines. Not sure why that construction line is not. There we go. I'll bring the rungs in. Little front, ISO, zoom extents. And there we go. We have our 2 types of rung. Next week, we will copy this one back here, copy this one over here. We'll put the holes in the legs for them, and we'll put the cushion on the seat. Until then, have a good day.